So lads, in this video we are going to be talking about the best 2020 free agents every NBA team can realistically sign. This is an article from Zach Buckley on Bleacher Report, and yes, we're basically turning into a poor man's king in the fourth quarter. I guess that's what this channel has turned into. From how good is the professor actually, and how good is Julian Newman actually, and how good is Rob Bob actually, to Bleacher Report reactions. So I'm going to give my personal opinion on what I think of each of these things, as well as that I'm going to be maybe giving a better alternative if I feel that this guy is incorrect some of his things. Brandon Ingram, I just seen his picture. The free agent market in 20 is awful, by the way. It's awful. So Atlanta Hawks, Brandon Ingram. Yeah, Pelicans aren't letting him go, are they? The Pelicans are not letting him go. Like, it's very much a stretch, but like, realistically signed, the Pelicans are not letting him go. Boston Celtics, oh, if only Aaron Baines can go back to the Celtics. That would be like a match made in heaven. Yeah, like, if they can manage to get Aaron Baines, he would have been big. I think they might be. Would they beat Miami? I mean, I don't think they would have beat Miami, but it would have been a little bit of a close. They would have probably brought it 7 games. So that's an interesting one. I like it, though. I like Aaron Baines. He actually had a good season in Phoenix. I like him going back to Boston. I definitely like him going back to Boston. Aaron Baines is like... Oh, I'm trying to think of who Aaron Baines is in the kind of class of. Because he's better than Scalabrine. He's in that like cult legend category of like Scalabrine, the last couple of years J.R. Smith, where it's just a fan favorite, except Aaron Baines might be the actual best of them all right now. So yeah, I'd love to see him going back to Boston. Brooklyn Nets, Joe Harris. Man, he looks a lot like Lawrence McKenna in these pictures. I've just only noticed that. The Nets have 37. The Nets have more than 73 million tied in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They're not going to be able to keep Joe Harris, straight up. They're not going to be able to afford him. But they're going to... Will they need to keep him? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think the Nets keep him. Unless he wants to... Unless he wants a pay cut, I don't think he signs with the Nets. I think the Brooklyn Nets are just going to have to get a load of vets. Like, underpaid vets, maybe off the buyout market later on in the year. Because, like, they got LeVert. They've got... I'm pretty sure they still have Dinwiddie. So I don't think they'll find any way to keep Joe Harris. And I don't think they'll do it. I don't think they'll find a way to keep him. Charlotte Hornets, Montrezl Harrell. Not really. Especially if they can go and get, again, because it's looking like they're going to be able to get James Wiseman. Because he's looking at almost certainty that LaMelo Ball is going number 1. Highly unlikely Wiseman's taken by whoever. It's highly unlikely someone trades with the Warriors to take James Wiseman. But like, why would you get Why would you get Trez if Wiseman's there? Maybe sign him on a 1 year, I guess. It's not like they have many players. As it says, Cody Zeller is their only front court player signed up. You know what? They have a lot of money. They're bad and they have a lot of money. And while I don't think Trez gives them anywhere near as much of an impact on a team like Charlotte as he gave in Los Angeles, who were one of the best teams in the NBA, that's actually not a bad move. That is not a bad move at all. Chicago Bulls, Jay Crowder. I like this. I really like Jay Crowder. I'm just saying, I really like Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder is a fantastic 3-and-D glue guy. And if you've got Larry Markkinen, if you can manage to find a way to get Killian Hayes, Zach LaVine, you've got your two big scorers, assuming Markkinen picks up. You've got Killian Hayes, who's going to be really good. And I think a Jay Crowder would be perfect, especially because they're going to look to make the playoffs. If they're getting Billy Donovan, the only reason he left OKC was he didn't want to rebuild. So not a chance he's going to want to rebuild in Chicago. Cleveland Cavaliers, Derrick Jones Jr. I mean, there's not that many big free agents, so I can kind of see that, but I don't see what benefit he gives, except for maybe getting a few highlight plays with dunking. But at the end of the day, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be terrible next season. I'm praying Denny, every mock draft has Denny Avdija going to Cleveland. I am praying he does not go to Cleveland. Dallas Mavericks, Paul Millsap. I like this one. I really like this one. He's the enforcer. He will be the enforcer. No, like if someone goes to do something to Luka, Paul Millsap will be sitting right there trying to back him up. So I really like this one. If you can manage to get, obviously if Tim Hardaway Jr. declines $19 million per year, but I don't know why he would decline it, because I think that's all his market value really is, if even. Especially because there's predictions for the salary cap to be lowered. But if they can sign Paul Millsap on a 1-year deal, he could be so nice. He could be so good as a veteran player with that young Mavs team. And they'd be contenders. They would be contenders. I really like this trade. I really like this free agent signing. Denver Nuggets, Jeremy Grant. Yeah. The Nuggets really need to get Jeremy Grant back. He could be getting between 14 and 16 million. The Nuggets could be in a rough spot. Like if they lose Grant and they lose Millsap, I don't think they'll lose both. I think if they lose Millsap, I think they should be still able to get Grant. Problem is that they paid Gary Harris. If they can find a way to get out of Gary Harris, that would help. But man, Jeremy Grant was so nice in the playoffs. He was so nice, and he is a good player. This isn't the Jerome James situation or a Bismack Biyombo situation where a not very good NBA player has a great playoffs and goes up. Jeremy Grant is going to be pretty good. He's going to be a good NBA player. He's still young. He was good with OKC as well. So I definitely think that, especially because the Western Conference, you're gonna need to guard Kawhi and LeBron, and you're also gonna need to just do something different to the Warriors. And Jeremy Grant works against all them. I mean, Detroit Pistons, Christian Wood, like this, a lot of these are just kind of re-signing players. I don't know about Christian Wood. I really don't know, because he was really good last year, but he hasn't been really good up until last year. So it's always hard to tell with guys like that. Did he only step up? Is this a Mike James in Toronto situation where the team just had nobody else and he stepped up big time? I'd try to keep him. I would not overpay for Christian Wood. I would not overpay for him. Somebody will. Some team in the NBA is going to overpay for him. If you're a fan, you probably hope that it's not your franchise that overpays, because someone is going to overpay. Golden State Warriors to get Paul Millsap. Man. If they can get Paul Millsap on like a vet's minimum deal, holy moly, lads. It's GG's. Like, if the Golden State Warriors can get Paul Millsap, oh my god, how good a signing that would be. He is not only a vet who can play defense, can shoot the ball, is tough, and can take the ball up and play make a little bit. He is as perfect a player. It reminds you a lot of David West. He is a lot more. He suits the Warriors' style more than David West. David West couldn't necessarily shoot the ball from that deep. He suits the Warriors' style. Houston Rockets, Jay Crowder. I mean, would they want to play him center or something? I'm saying this right now. I think the Houston Rockets are a 6 to 8 seed next year. It is a definite bold statement. It is a bold statement. I think the Houston Rockets take a massive step back without Mike D'Antoni. I really do. But at the end of the day, Jay Crowder is a player that makes every team in the NBA better, so I can't really argue this. Indiana Pacers keeping Justin Holiday. He's again, I'm not gonna lie, I have not watched much of the Pacers. I don't know what he's all about. Assuming he's a Holiday, so they all seem to be quite good, so fair enough, they want to keep him. LA Clippers keep Marcus Morris. They're gonna have to overpay for Marcus Morris. They are really gonna have to overpay for Marcus Morris. That's the problem. They parted with, was Jerome Robinson, was he not a high pick in 2018? They parted with Mo Harkless, Jerome Robinson, 2020 first and 2021 second round pick swap, and a 2021 second round pick for Marcus Morris. Yeah, they're gonna have to re-get him. Yeah, I think they're gonna have to re-sign him even for a 1 year. But I have a weird feeling again that they're gonna look to trade Paul George. And if they look to trade Paul George and try to use like Marcus Morris as that second option, which would be ludicrous, or trade Paul George for another second option, and get something back, it's good. But I have a weird feeling that Marcus Morris was one of those role players that thinks he's better than Paul George. I also hate the guy. I hate the guy because not like he looked to take out Luka not once but twice. He stood on his ankle and then plowed through his knee before hitting and punching him in the back of the head. Like he tried to take out Luka twice in that series, and I don't mean like take him out, like drag him to the ground, take him out, like injure him, like potentially injure the guy. So I hate the guy. But on the basketball court, yeah, Clippers should look to keep him. Lakers, no brainer, keeping Anthony Davis. Man, I have not watched the Grizzlies this year. I have no idea who the Anthony Melton is. I don't know who he is. But if they can manage to, like, to be fair, like if they can just keep that team together, they're a young team. I think it's just keep that team together as much as possible. Miami Heat, Danilo Gallinari. How I would love for him to go. Like, what's his name is as good as gone. Goran Dragic is as good as gone. Unless, no, I think Goran Dragic is gonna be playing next year with Luka Doncic. I think Goran Dragic is going to play with the Dallas Mavericks, play with his national team teammate for Slovenia in Luka Doncic, end kind of the last of his starting borderline all-star level career, which he's had. Like, Goran Dragic has had a very, very, very good NBA career. And considering he won Eurobasket with Luka, I think he might want to play like his last maybe year or two of still being a high-quality starting point guard with the man that might become the best player in the world in Luka. So if they go, man, Gallinari's a perfect player to put in. Gallinari's great. Like, Gallinari is absolutely great. So he definitely is going to cost a lot of money. If they can get him on a 1 year deal, because I think he's better than Duncan Robinson. I think that by the end of next year, Tyler Hero, after his second year, will go into that like borderline all-star level player. I think he will probably be average about 18, 19 points a game and look like he could be an all-star in his third or fourth year in the league. And I think when that's the case, there's no point having a Gallinari there. You've already got Bam, you'll have Tyler Hero, you'll still have Jimmy. So there's no point in him being a fourth option on a team. However, a 1 year deal for Gallinari gives him a much better chance of winning a championship next year. Milwaukee Bucks, Wes Matthews. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks were in a horrible position after last year. They let Malcolm Brogdon walk, and then Mirotic just went back to Barcelona. Like, if they had Brogdon and Mirotic, it would be a different story. That's why I was always saying from the very start, I was like, the Milwaukee Bucks, I don't understand why they were the favorites to win the championship, because they didn't win it the previous year, and this year they lost two of their best four players. So I just didn't know why people were expecting them to win. Sure, I even had the Miami Heat beating them in my predictions. But yeah, no, if they can manage to trade for Chris Paul, that's the biggest thing. Because, man, I'd love to see Chris Paul playing with Giannis. Chris Paul playing with Giannis, gets Giannis off the ball, it'd be great. Timberwolves keep Malik Beasley. I mean, if they, considering that they traded for Malik Beasley, and who was he a part of? Which trade was he a part of? I can't even remember. But whatever, they gave up players for Malik Beasley, they better keep him, especially because he's a young player. New Orleans Pelicans keeping Brandon Ingram. I mean, it's restricted, so they have the chance to do it. New York Knicks, Fred VanVleet. I mean, the New York Knicks overpaying for Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet's really good in Toronto. I don't know how great he'll be for the New York Knicks. Like how much better would he be than like 2010, 2011, 2012, like Raymond Felton? Like, how much better is he going to be than someone like him? Than like pre-Melo Raymond Felton? No chance he's He's going to be a scorer, but no chance is they're going to be the difference between the Knicks not making and not making the playoffs. And I think that the Knicks will have to heavily overspend to get Fred VanVleet. OKC, Harry Giles, take a risk. Someone should take a risk on Harry Giles. I'm not sure if the Kings will keep him, but someone should take a risk on him. Orlando Magic, Jordan Clarkson. Okay, I like Clarkson, don't love Clarkson. I watched him a lot in Cleveland. I watched him a little bit in LA. Wherever he goes, he's going to be okay. Like, he's going to be a decent player. I don't see him being a game changer. Each one more. The more shooting, the better for Philly. Philly just needs shooters. And each one more might be the most realistic option because he's probably not going to be expensive. So, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad shout. The Phoenix Suns, Jeremy Grant. I mean, I like Jeremy Grant, but like, I think the Suns have Booker. They have Mikal Bridges. They have Dario Saric. I think the Suns should just stick with what they have. Like, again, Jeremy Grant is in the Crowder category of he does not make any team worse by having him. I just like what the Suns have at the minute. I really like what they have, and I think when DeAndre Ayton comes back and doesn't get banned for a year, I really don't think that they need to break up too much. Portland Trailblazers, Nerlens Noel. I mean, how much better is Nerlens Noel than Hassan Whiteside? Or how much worse is he than Hassan Whiteside? Quite a bit. I mean, they might get him for cheap, I guess. They'll probably get Noel for cheap. A lot cheaper than Whiteside, but still, I don't think he'll be a major addition. He mightn't quite be as good as even Whiteside. So it might even be worse with him. Obviously, they probably can't afford to re-sign Whiteside. Some team will be stupid enough to overpay for him as well, like the Miami Heat did in 2016. But Sacramento Kings, Bogdanovic. Man, he is really good. He is really good. I think he will get close to it. The thing is, will the Kings trade him? Or say not trade him. Will the Kings overpay him? Like, the Kings are a bad front office. Like, one of the smart things they did was give him a big contract coming into the NBA for a couple of years. Like, get him over from Fenerbahce. That's one of the smartest things that Vlade Divac did. But man, Bogdanovic, he's not young. I can see the Kings moving away from him and focusing on De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley, because he is that little bit older, and I think he could go to a team. Like, man, imagine if the Lakers had got him in a trade for Kuzma. It would be just GG's. Like, he's a player I really like. I don't really like him in Sacramento, but then again, I don't like anyone in Sacramento. Jakob Poeltl, keeping him. I mean, the Spurs kind of need to rebuild. The Spurs are kind of in a bad spot right now. And the Toronto Raptors definitely re-signed Fred VanVleet. I think Fred VanVleet is way better in Toronto than anywhere else. I think it's important for them to re-sign him, because I did not think they were that far off an NBA championship. I really don't. I think they are Siakam being able to step up and be that number one option. And considering the fact that this was only his first year ever of being that option, and he wasn't able to lead them to an NBA title, or he wasn't able to redo it in the playoffs, he was very inconsistent, that's fine. I think if Siakam can't do it next year, then maybe you look at changing things around in Toronto. But I still think that if Siakam has a potential to be the number one option on a really good team that can win a championship. It's hard to say it. He's not like the number one option on a team and him dominating by himself, but he can be the best player on a team, on a great overall team, like the Toronto Raptors are. And I think Fred VanVleet is necessary. They need to keep him. I think the only reason he'll end up overpaying, you'll have to overpay for him because someone like New York will overpay for him. Either way though, Fred VanVleet is a kind of must keep for Toronto. Utah Jazz, Jordan Clarkson. I mean, I don't think it makes a difference whether they have him or not. And the Davis Bertans. I'm surprised the Davis Bertans, it only says it for Washington. I mean, if I'm Washington, I don't need him, because you're gonna have to overspend for him, and I think he's good. I think he is a really good player. He's a really good shooter, but like, we have to take into account the San Antonio Spurs got rid of him for Marcus Morris. And would he be that much more sought out? Like, they're going to have to pay a lot more, I'd say, for him this year than they would have had to pay for someone like a Marcus Morris. So, I don't know. I think Bertans a lot of value. If I was someone like the Sixers, I'd look for a Bertans if they could afford him, because I think he would be an ideal player to play at the 4 with. He'd be an ideal kind of floor spacer to put on that type of team. So you've got Tobias Harris who can shoot it a little bit with Ben Simmons. Well, that's if they want to play Ben Simmons at point guard, that is. Like Ben Simmons at point. Imagine Shake Milton at the 2, Tobias Harris, Davies Bertans, and Embiid with Horford on the bench. That's a nice looking team right there. But the Wizards, they might as well try to keep him. But I think the Wizards is a disaster franchise. Unless John Wall can come back healthy, it doesn't matter what the Wizards do. They're going to be an absolute disaster, like they have been for years. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. These are the most the best realistic free agent targets for all of these NBA teams. A lot of them are just re-signing players that they already had. And I think that in terms of all these free agent signings, the ones that might have the biggest impact would say be the Nets keeping Joe Harris, which I'm not sure if they will end up doing. And obviously the Los Angeles Lakers keeping Anthony Davis, which, barring a 3-1 choke and something ridiculous like LeBron James knocking out Anthony Davis after losing a Game 7, he's re-signing the Lakers. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. That is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.